Zados Investments guest line from 97.3 ESPN, as well as his podcast, Coming In for a Landing podcast. Our good friend Paul Hudrick joins us. Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you, man?
This sucks. I really wanted to sweep. I'll tell you, I'm glad you asked that question. How am I? Because let me tell you, Paul, I feel like this series has brought out the worst in us. I never thought we'd have to debate whether or not a guy who just had a 15 rebound, 15 assist game. I never thought we'd have to debate whether or not that guy had a good game or not. I never thought we'd have to debate whether or not it was bad to pour popcorn on an opposing player. And I never thought we'd have to debate whether or not it's good to make foul shots. And that's where I'm at right now, Paulie. That's where I'm at right now.
Playoff basketball, Mark. This is what we do, especially in Philadelphia, man. This is what we do. We not only do it, not only is it super weird and competitive, but then we all argue about it. It's great.
Oh God, let me ask you this. Towards the end of let's start in with the press conference here, and we'll get into Joel Embiid, and we obviously know we're just in a wait and see moment with him right now. But with Doc Rivers coming out after the game, I don't expect him to say, "Yeah, Ben was terrible. God, that sucked, right, guys?" Like, I don't expect that. What's so hard about saying, "Yeah, Ben needs to make his foul shots in that situation"? What is so difficult about that? Why does he go the route of, "I'm fine with it"? Analytically speaking, we're okay with that. Well, why that narrative?
Well, I just want to get my opinion out of the way first so that we're all not holding me and Doc Rivers, because we are not exactly locking key on this on this argument. He needs to shoot better from the free throw line. I mean, you can't. I don't care who you Dwight Howard. You can't shoot below 50% from the free throw line. You need to shoot better. Ben Simmons will tell you that. He did tell us that. He said he needs to go to the line. He needs to hit him. So let's get that part out of the way. He needs to be better.
All right, acknowledge.
With that said, I get what Doc Rivers is saying in this regard. What he was saying is, in the NBA, a point per possession is actually pretty good. It's not bad to get a point per possession, especially playoffs, especially in crunch time. And then actually, I saw Kevin Kincaid from Crossing Broad actually brought up a really good point where he laid out the possessions, and it was Ben makes one of two, Beal scores. Ben makes one of two, Gafford scores. Ben makes one of two, and then the Wizards don't score. So technically, the Wizards were only a +2 in that time. And then also, you got to figure it, like, if you're the Sixers and you have Ben Simmons, you got to get a stop. So I think while I don't fully agree with Doc Rivers, where I agree with the sentiment of he needs to just hit more free throws, I get what Doc was trying to say. And I also understand why Doc was well, first of all, Doc has just really defended Ben all year long. He really has. He's really gone out on a limb for him all season. I don't fault the reporters for the questions. This is the reality of it. This is the playoffs, and I don't blame Doc for kind of being tired of it. So it's like I can't really fault either side. The questions need to be asked, and I get it's his guy, and he does a lot. And Ben Simmons does a lot of things extremely well at a very high level.
Absolutely.
So Doc Rivers really wants to defend his guy, and it just doesn't do him any good to say anything negative. Now, I get your point as well. Could he have just said, well, we did get a point per possession, but maybe we would like him. I mean, he did say, yeah, we would like him to make both. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I sort of see where Doc is coming from. But my opinion is he just needs to be just like a little bit better in that regard.
All right. Well, here's where I'll use the phrase that I always like to say, and I believe this is my personal phrase that I myself have coined.
I'm sure it is.
Numbers don't lie, but they can deceive. And I believe that the analytics here that you're talking about with the point per possession and all that stuff, I agree that all that looks good on paper when you're looking at the numbers. But what it doesn't factor in is the strategy of putting Ben Simmons to the line and taking away the opportunity for someone like, I don't know, Danny Green to hit a three, or Seth Curry to hit a three, or maybe even Ben Simmons drive the lane and be able to, get a bucket that way. It takes away that strategy that you so desperately need in a close game.
Yeah, but at the same time, I just think for me, I don't see that as being what lost them the game. I mean, clearly, first and foremost, even just, we'll get it out of the way, the Joel Embiid being hurt. If Joel Embiid plays, we're not, this isn't even a conversation. If Tobias Harris does anything, quite frankly, Tobias Harris was bad tonight.
Yeah.
First bad game he's had because he's been really, really good through 3 games. If he has any kind of game tonight, if he shoots 40% from the field, this isn't a conversation. If Ben Simmons doesn't get in foul trouble and is allowed to play, and then what I believe would have happened, I think Doc Rivers would have been more would have had the notion sooner to go to him as the 5, because clearly Mike Scott not working. Dwight Howard really has not been effective at all in this series through 3 games. I think Doc Rivers, if Ben Simmons was not in foul trouble, makes the decision sooner to go to him at the 5, surrounded by shooters, and try to make something go that way. And maybe they start their comeback a little sooner. So while of course, it's part of it. And they as a team actually did not shoot the ball from the line very well.
No.
So of course, if they make a few free throws, the game might be closer. Maybe they win. But my personal opinion is I don't think that's where the game was lost. They shot 41% from the field. That's not going to cut it. I mean, I don't you know what I mean? Like, even if Ben Simmons makes every free throw, it's not good enough. And it was the factor of Embiid not playing, Ben Simmons being in foul trouble and not being able to being used as effectively as maybe Doc Rivers could have used them. And it's Tobias Harris just having, quite frankly, a bad game.
All right, let's move on to something that was a little bit optimistic when it came to this game, and that was the play of Tyrese Maxey. And Furkan Korkmaz hitting some big shots for you. Missed the one at the top of the key that I think would have made all Sixers fans' heads explode on the tap out there by Ben Simmons. But let's start with Tyrese Maxey. Gets significant minutes in this game, produces for this team, comes up with some clutch shots, including a big 3 for the Sixers team as well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this kid should be a rotational mainstay with the way he's playing. And he's clearly earned it. He earned it through his time to close out the regular season. He got his opportunities when guys are in and out of the lineup. He really stepped up and he played his best basketball at the end of the season, which for a rookie is almost mind-boggling. A 20-year-old rookie at that, and he's carried that over. And I think it's a combination of, yes, he's earned it, and he's also just hot. Like, he's just playing at a high level. His confidence is at such a high right now. And it's almost like you want to keep playing him before he realizes where he is and what's going on. Because the moment is big, but it's not too big for him. And I don't know if it's, the fact that he does come from a school like Kentucky and, he's always been kind of a prominent player throughout his, his young life. And so maybe this moment it doesn't faze him because it's just in his genes or whatever. He just doesn't feel that pressure, or if he's just so young and he just doesn't even realize where he's at. Either way, just keep playing him. Every time he comes on the court, it feels like he's a positive. Doc Rivers did mention the first half he struggled a little bit, and he did. But second half he was outstanding. He was, like, as you mentioned, him and Furkan Korkmaz, they were the biggest reasons that they made that comeback. I mean, that was that run. And then, we can't leave out George Hill either, who I thought was just really solid tonight. I think he went up like 14 points, and he was just kind of kept things kind of afloat when the game seemed like it could have gotten out of reach. But yeah, just to circle back to Maxey at this point, I don't know how you don't play him. Like, I don't know how he's not in the rotation. Doc Rivers is very clearly going to go gut feel because it seems like it changes every game, the rotation. But to me, Maxey, he's got to be a guy that's in it for the remainder of the playoffs, really.